Niall Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube. Hey, Car Connection fans, welcome to the Car Connection Workshop. Your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins. Thanks, friends, for stopping by. We got a busy day of shooting videos today. Some new stuff coming up and some new topics to cover. And today's program is sponsored by Rainbow Motors and Garage in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. Rita and Ramiz Shanuda are the owners up there. Not only can you purchase a vehicle there from their car lot, if they don't have what you're looking for, Rita and Ramiz, they have the resources to find that specific vehicle that you have in mind. And not only can you purchase there, you can get it serviced there. They service all years, makes and models, up to light commercial vehicles. So for sales and service that you can trust, Rainbow Motors. Visit them on our website at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. Just click on their link below the logo. It will take you to their profile page. From there, you can connect with the brothers at Rainbow Motors and Garage, Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. So just let them know that Car Connection or Motormouth sent you. They won't charge you more. Yeah, they'll take really, really good care of all your automotive needs. Rainbow Motors. Well, today we're going to be talking anti-seize. And even my good friend Charlie, who is a farm technician and owns several farms, him and I stand on the same footing when it comes to anti-seize. When I went to trade school, not only for light truck and passenger vehicles, my 310A covers that. I went back and did my 310T, which is commercial vehicles, trucks, and coaches. Anti-seize was something we were trained on right from trade school. But I can also tell you that there was a lot of companies. I worked for a company that had tenders every year. In other words, contracts with different organizations. And I can tell you this, that we did about 85, at the shop I worked at, we did about 85% of the work for MTO, Ministry of Transport. And I can tell you this, that every truck, sander, dump truck, tractor, whatever they brought us, we worked on, we had better have put anti-seize on every single bolt and nut. Because when the vehicles went back to the MTO, they were inspected to see what was done and if things were done correctly and if anti-seize compound had been applied. So, with that said, the controversy is putting anti-seize on nuts and bolts and spark plugs is a no-no. And I will say this, that's what some textbooks and some teachers are putting out there. It is false information. And I have proof in the pudding with me, and I knew this was going to come up, and I don't like to butter anybody else's toast, but that said, it's incorrect. It won't cause you, putting it on wheel studs and on hubs and bolts will not cause those bolts and hardware to be incorrectly torqued. So, I knew at some point, because we buy so many parts and work on so many different things, something was going to come into the shop that explained the use of anti-seize for me. And I have it right here. This is a front end nut and bolt kit for all the control arms in the front of a Jeep 97 Jeep TJ all the way up to and into the 2000s, 2006 and beyond. And I'll just say that I'm really pleased. It was suggested to me to go to Amazon and see if they had the kits online for all the hardware for the front control arms on our 97 Rescue TJ Wrangler. Because I went to the dealer, I went to Chrysler in my own hometown, and the parts guy said this to me: "Oh, we can't get those. We don't have them." And I said, "Well, if somebody came in with a Jeep TJ all the way up to 2006 that needed front control arms, upper and lowers and bushings, and you can't get the hardware off, how do you do the job?" And he just kind of looked at me, and I walked out of there going, that just doesn't sound right. So when we were out, Skippy and I were out harvesting parts in St. Catharines at a U-Pullet. I was going to take some old hardware off of it. There was a TJ in there, but I'll tell you, the hardware looked rougher than a stucco toilet seat. And if I started undoing it, the Jeep was going to fall off the stands that it was sitting on because it was sitting on the control arm. So anyways, a short story long, or is it a long story shorter? Yeah, we're going to go with the shorter route. So I went on, the Jungle website, and bam, I couldn't believe it. There were kits available from several different companies, and I picked this specific one. I felt comfortable with it. Region Off-Road, it's called TJ and ZJ front control arm bolts, and gives you a website and everything, but it also gives you a little conversation about anti-seize. Because these bolts, the big ones go in the lower control arms at the back on the frame, and the smaller ones go in the upper portions of the control arms at the front, at the top and the bottom. So you have two on each side like this, an upper and a lower. You also have the same control arms in the rear. So you're going to need the same bolt kit. This was only like 58 bucks. I was doing a happy dance in my long johns outside, man, in July. Okay, I'm going to read what is on their bag, sealed bag with all their paraphernalia on it. So this isn't my Ziploc bag. This came in the bag just as you see it in an envelope from the Jungle website. Torque, upper control arm bolts. That's the little guys. To 50 foot-pounds dry. And the lower control arm bolts, these big ones, to 125 foot-pounds dry. What does that mean? Just as you see it out of the bag. Metal on metal, no lubrication whatsoever. So the friction coefficient takes over. There's a big word for you. You can look that up, Google it. Friction coefficient applies. Physics. That's part of physics. I really enjoyed physics. Yeah, it was weird. Okay, if using anti-seize, thread locker, grease, or any other lubricant, reduce the torque by 20%. So the smaller bolts now get torqued at 40 foot-pounds instead of 50. The bigger bolts, right there, get torqued to 100 foot-pounds instead of 125. So riddle me this. If anti-seize prevents torque specs and skews torque specs because you can't torque it accurately, why would then, if you've treated the bolts, these bolts, and you're not allowing the coefficient of friction to take over and you're putting them on metal to metal, you're having to torque it more because the coefficient of friction. Steel against steel with no lubrication, they want you to add more foot-pounds to make sure the bolts are tight, and they're not saying they're tight because there's friction, metal on metal. So with the anti-seize on there, they know the bolts are lubed and there's no friction, almost zero friction. You don't need to torque them more. You torque them less. So that's science. And it's great they're giving you this information directly. This is what we were taught when I was back in trade school at Mohawk College, training and getting my licenses and my degrees. This is what we were taught. You had to reduce, when using anti-seize, you reduced the foot-pounds of torque from the torque specs by 20%. In classroom, it was, they used the spec 10 to 15%. This company is saying reduce the torque by 20% if you're applying anti-seize, thread locker, grease, or any other lubricant. Reduce the torque by 20%. So I want Skippy to take a good shot of this bag because this shows you the science behind using anti-seize. And I use it on everything I take apart. And I'll tell you what, since 1988, I've never lost a wheel on a set of duals on a highway truck or any kind of equipment, huge machinery that we serviced. In all the shops I've worked in across Ontario and around Ontario, anti-seize is on your workbench all the time, and it is to be used. It takes away the coefficient of friction. Putting bolts and hardware on non-lubricated, they need to be torqued more because you don't know how much friction is being created as the bolts are tightening without any lubrication on them. So it's another reason why we have to lube head bolts in motor oil before we put them on. And I just happen to have one right here. That's a brand new head bolt that I had an extra one in the bag when we did the cylinder head on the TJ. Why were we lubing them? Because of the coefficient of friction. Don't want any hardware going on dry because you don't know if you've really torqued it to the spec because it's not lubricated. So when they tell you got to soak head bolts in motor oil, it's to remove the coefficient of friction. So we got to be careful what we're saying out there, folks, because how do you come against this then? It's telling you the science. Reduce the torque by 20 foot-pounds of torque or inch-pounds of torque by 20%. Or you have to increase the pounds of torque, whether it's inch-pounds or foot-pounds, if you're putting stuff on dry. And I'll tell you what, I certainly ain't putting these bolts in through those bushings on the control arms because they get seized in the bushings, and that's why you got to cut them off. You can't get them to turn. They're seized in to the center of the insert inside the rubber bushing. That happens all the time with shocks, with struts, with control arms, sway bar bushings, the whole 9 yards. If you don't put anti-seize on them, there's a good chance you're cutting them out. You're not getting them off by hand, where with air tools, you're going to have to cut them off. And that's what I had to do on this TJ was some of them I got them out and some of them I didn't. But I replaced everything with brand new and really, really happy. But I wanted to share that. I really wanted to share that because saying that you should not put anti-seize on anything is not correct. And I will end with this. And I'm not trying to be a smart ass, and I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, and I'm not trying to be the big toad in the puddle. I let stuff speak for itself. I'm not the message, I'm just the messenger. I'm not a big shot, I'm just a little shot that just keeps shooting. And I have a lot of years in. I wrote my license in 1988. I'm 62 years old now. And I'm still hands-on. And I know my way around. Even with the modern technology, I know my way around. Reason because I'm studying all the time. all the time. It's nonstop. This is what I like to do, and I like to teach as well. I never used to because I was, three's a crowd is way too many people for me. And I can't believe that I've been on the radio 30 years already and done MC work and all the stuff I did not like to do. Speaking in public, no. Speaking in front of a crowd, no. And here we are with our YouTube channel. The whole purpose of our YouTube channel is to educate you, whether you know nothing about cars, absolutely nothing. Every single video we teach you 5 things and 4 things. The 4 things: concern, cause, correction, and then we road test and confirm the repair. The 5 things: what it is, where it is, how it works, how it breaks, and how could we avoid having to spend money on things if we understood them just a little bit more and we didn't break them. Not that we did it on purpose, but I'll finish off with this. Is the biggest thing I have covered in 30 years being on radio and being in the public's eye and answering thousands and thousands of emails. What is my best suggestion to all of you, whether you're single mom, widowed, young, old, it doesn't matter. You own an automobile, it's a piece of equipment. The biggest factor in those vehicles that equipment costing you money is neglect. It all comes down to one single word: neglect. Preventative maintenance will save you thousands of dollars and a lot less stress and headaches. So my final quote of the day for this video is this. And my Professor Mike, taught me this many years ago. A man with a theory will always be at the mercy of a man with experience. Not everything goes according to textbook in this trade. Not everything goes cookie cutter every single time. And I'll tell you what, that's why we have tips and tricks. Things that were never put in the textbooks when I was at Mohawk College Trade School. You earn those tips and tricks. How to make a custom tool to get a job done. How to get a job done better and faster to save the customer money. That's experience. And in the trades, you can either think that everything every single day on every single vehicle goes textbook. Not in my world. Not in my world it doesn't. And you have to work your way through that with knowledge. The knowledge that you've gained from being on the shop floor, being out in the fields, fixing stuff on location, that's where, and you know what? The biggest blessing for me was working alongside some of the old timers and just listening, keeping this closed and using what I have 2 of more and 1 of less, and learning a lot of really cool stuff. And that's where my tips and tricks have come from, and I've added to myself. So till next time, don't forget to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, Niall Motormouth Jenkins. Check us out. You got to check us out on Stevensville on the web, because we always have something kooky up there for you to watch. Videos, little short videos you'll not find anywhere else. And don't forget to subscribe because it's free. And you know what? We want to bring you along to our Car Connection community. And our merch store link will be posted in the next few days. I just gave the orders to our webmaster, so you're going to be able to order anything you want off our merch store directly. Pick your color, pick your size, pay for it safely, and get it delivered right to your door. And I think that is so, so cool. So there's 6 items up there for now. And just stay tuned to our website at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. We got podcasts coming on iHeart. We have live streaming on YouTube. So if you're subscribed and you ring that notification bell, you'll know when I'm going to be live to YouTube streaming and also on to Facebook. So subscribe, like, share your comments down below. Hey, what are you working on? What would you like to see us put together for you that you want to understand? And we had a radio listener who wants us to go through what's on the sidewall of the tires and how do I know how old they are. So we're going to cover that one for that listener, and you're going to be able to also tap into that. So put your comments down below on our videos. Give us a like, because that helps the algorithms put us out to a much broader audience. And the whole idea behind Car Connection on YouTube is that we reach all four corners of the earth and teach what I know to you guys and you gals. And you can learn it. You absolutely can learn it. And what else have I got? Yeah, happy motoring, and put the coffee on. Skippy and I are going to come to your house. Ring the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Miss a single edition of Car Connection. So till next time, keep it under 100 and put the coffee on, because we're coming to your house.